Hi, everybody. Welcome to the World Cup lot, the 2021 Rugby League World Cup podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. So any companies out there, any rugby league clubs, any businesses need a new brand, a new logo, a brand refresh, whole new package, just get in touch with ACD&B. Thank you, as always, to them for sponsoring us. And also, Statman Reese, a new sponsor on board now.
We do. Get into the big time now,
Look
aren't
at
we?
us.
I know. Two. So, before I introduce this sponsor, we're going to get a good little discount from them. But before we go introduce them, what is a good discount?
In percentage, a good.
Yeah, in percentage.
Usually, well, what a strange question. Usually, 5%, 10% reels me in. You know, if it's something I really want or I'm interested in, 5-10%, I'd be like, yeah, that's a decent discount. Why do you ask?
Because our good sponsor, our new sponsor, our excellent sponsor is giving us 20%.
20%.
20%. So support from the Lot Pod is now brought to you as well by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, the Performance Package. So join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, which is 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code LOTPOD. So that's the code LOTPOD at manscaped.com. Now, we've got one of our favorite guests on this evening, Ewan, and those that are watching on video will see in Ewan's beard. If below the waist is looking a bit like that, you might need one of these, or just for Christmas, use this code to make yourself look better and feel better and more confident for your better half. So in this performance package, it's a game changer. We've got the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker ear, nose, and hair trimmer. It's got the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all those goodies. So, want to say it again, 20% off with free shipping with the code LOTPOD at manscaped.com.
Amazing to have Manscaped on board and perfect timing for Christmas, really. If anyone's thinking of a gift, they don't just do trimmers and things. There's things like there's ball deodorant. They do non-chafing underwear, things like that. Go on manscaped.com. And if you do use the code LOTPOD, you do get that massive 20% discount. You'd also think of it as supporting us on our journey, like supporting the podcast. Everybody gets involved with the fanzine and on Twitter and things like that. We see this as an extension of the support for us. Manscaped did send me and Reese the performance bundle.
Yeah, we got this exact package.
We got this package. The sent us me and Reese one, and it's real good quality. I'm not just saying this because they are sponsored, but honestly, the quality of the trimmer and everything that was in there is good. It looks good. I don't have it to hand, but it looks really good. And the trimmer, I'm not joking, the trimmer has a headlight on it. You could use it in the dark. I'm not joking. It's got a little headlight.
Not advised, by the way.
Not advised to use it in the dark, but I don't know if you're camping and you need to shave your nuts. You can. It's got a torch on the front. It's honestly, it's really impressive. It feels good, and I've just gobsmacked by what we got in that bundle. It looked like with the travel case and things, it looks really good. So please do go ahead and use that code LOTPOD in the at manscaped.com. Thanks a lot to them. And also, if you do check out Reese's Twitter at the Owl and Fleece, Reese has very kindly done a before and after picture on Twitter. So you can kind of see just how good the trimmer is. So just head to the Owl and Fleece on Twitter and you'll see just how good those Manscaped products.
I'll have to move it to my OnlyFans page, though, later on.
I'll have to open one as well. Lottie's length.
Oh, Christ.
Awesome. Welcome on board, Manscaped. Yeah, we very, very thankful. On to our guest, Reese.
Yeah, we've got Laurie, who started the preview with us earlier in the year, and Ewan, sorry for using you as part of my gimmick, but we've also got the wheelchair side from Leeds Rhinos. How are you doing?
I'm slightly disturbed after hearing about your images. That's slightly worrying.
Have you seen it?
No.
I mean, we normally plan what we're going to say. He did not tell me he was going to do that.
No, I didn't. I just threw that in. It just came to my head. We've had some amazing guests on this podcast. You know, Iestyn Harris, Danny Maggs, Barry McDermott, Rob Oates, etc., etc. But one person was the first. He'll always be number one from representing the Rhinos. And it's great to have you back on, Ewan. How are you?
I'm all right, Matt. I'm good.
You'll always be our number one. You were, and no one can ever take that away, no matter who we get on.
You were before me.
Yeah.
Not quite.
You are number one. I think the best place to start is that amazing game, Ewan. France, England. First of all, before we do touch on that, what have you made of, for anyone that's new to this, by the way, Ewan does play for the Rhinos. He's one of the Rhinos' best players for us. What have you made of the wheelchair experience, the Wheelchair World Cup, the whole coverage of it all? I mean, there's been a hell of a lot of eyes on this incredible game. What have you personally made of it all?
It's been massive. First game having just over 3,000 seeing it for England, Australia, and then the last group game having nearly 4,000, then 4,500 for final was huge. Yeah. And then seeing all the viewing figures on iPlayer and BBC Two has been absolutely mental. My Twitter for the last 3 days has been non-stop with comments and people asking for like rules and where the local team might be. It's just been absolutely insane how many people have taken to it and wanted to get involved, or just like people in the area of teams wanting to come and find out when the fixtures are released already the night after the finals finished, just going, or when can I come and watch, sort of thing. Like, it's been absolutely massive, the reception we've had, and having people from all across the country going, oh, is there a team near me? Can I come join in? Can I come watch, sort of thing? It's been huge. And just the fact that we've had some men's players tweeting about it and spreading it to all their followers, and people from America sharing it. And then we had the astronaut, Tim Peake, is he called?
Yeah, Tim Peake,
yeah. He's been watching it, and he's got 1.5 million followers on Twitter, and he's been tweeting about it. It's going to sound corny, but astronomical how
I like that.
How many people it's reached. So yeah, it really couldn't have gone better.
You kind of touched on that kind of people are tweeting yourself and other clubs like, oh, I want to watch this, I want to get involved, I want to play this. The Rhinos and yourself and James and Tom, you do run kind of come and play sessions. Laurie, you've actually been to one. How was that, Laurie?
I'll be honest with you, I went along feeling really nervous because obviously I hadn't been before, and I knew Matt Horton, who's one of my mates who's done it, previously.
Yeah, Matt really been banging that drum on it to come.
And I went along, and honestly, within 5 minutes, I felt as part of the family. It was such a nice atmosphere. Everyone was so welcoming, including Ewan. First time I met Ewan face to face, we spoke for ages on Twitter, and it was literally like you instantly felt part of the family, and it was quite weird actually because doing it was brilliant. Trying it, and you get enthralled by it. Like the things that we're doing, because we were focusing on the defense work and stuff like that. It was just brilliant, absolutely class. But the one thing that I took away from it was, like, especially afterwards, I was stood chatting with you, and when I look now, there were Tom at the side and Nathan was stood at the side, and we were just having a chat.
Superstars.
Yeah, now you look back and literally the conversation was just about like wheelchair rugby, just chatting away about everything in weird sort of regards. And it felt a bit weird on Friday watching it. I felt like, it meant a little bit more, if that makes sense. It was just brilliant.
It absolutely does. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm so happy for these guys to get coverage because it's incredible. I mean, the sport is brilliant. Let's be honest, it's such a good sport.
Ewan, how bad was he?
How
bad was it? Come on, be honest. Be honest. How bad was it?
Was he any good, Ewan?
I'd put him in team over Tom, that's for sure.
Oh,
the new captain.
Cheers. Ewan, my favourite, mate.
Are there any more try and play sessions scheduled in, Ewan?
There is. We have got. Let me get the dates up because last time I was on, Ed Bates fell out with me because I got his job title wrong. So I will correct myself. Ed Bates is the disability officer for the Rhinos Foundation because I made the right muck up of it last time. We have got. Let me find it for you because we've just put out 4 new dates.
Oh, brilliant.
So we have got the 28th of November. We are at Leeds Beckett, 7 while 7:45. That's Monday, 28th. The Tuesday, the 29th of November, 6 while 7 p.m. We are at Priesthorpe High School in Pudsey.
I know that well, yeah.
Wednesday, the 30th of November, 5:30 till 6:30. We're at Roundhay School.
Yep.
And then on the 2nd of December, that's a Friday, 7 while 8 o'clock, we are at Headingley Stadium.
Wow.
Wow. All come and try, get in the chairs, give it a bash, see what you think.
So there's loads coming up.
So we've got 4 in the next week and a half that we're doing. I will be at Beckett and Headingley Stadium, or at least trying to be there anyway. Depends on how.
Depends if Laurie's taken your place in your team.
Yeah, depends if I've been.
Well, I can't make the second, so that's out.
But yeah, we've got those 4 dates set in stone for this year, and then as it stands, we're looking to do every Wednesday when we get back into training in January, 7 while 7:45 as a community session, and then after that, you can stay and watch a first team training session if you're available to.
Brilliant.
That's what we did at the end of the season as well. So there was talks of that just carrying on into the start of next year for anybody who wants to come and join in, watch, chat, anything like that.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. On to the game, Ewan. Have you managed to speak to any of them? Have they been in any fit state to speak to you?
Briefly. Very, very fleeting conversations with like Tom. He messaged me, I think it was yesterday afternoon. I have had 3 hours sleep in the last 3 days.
Because they would have got
too much beer, not enough sleep.
They would have had a skin fill on Friday night, and then get told you're at Old Trafford tomorrow, and then pretty much woken up and cracked on it again, aren't they?
Yeah, that is. I'm pretty sure that's what's happened.
Good lads.
But yeah, they were out. Tom were out night clubbing. I'm pretty sure Friday night in his kit with his wrists still fully taped up, and I'm assuming his shoulder taped up. Got in early hours Saturday.
You know who I am.
And then Saturday morning got up after 3 hours sleep and got his suit on and went off to Old Trafford and lifted his trophy with the Australian captains at the end of the men's game.
Not a bad life.
No, it's all right for some, isn't it? Trophy in one hand, his 2 medals in other, just walking down at Old Trafford touchline with James Tedesco. What more could you ask for?
Not bad.
Did you think there was a moment in that game where things changed? Because I know obviously everyone, when Jack Brown came on the pitch, I think everyone from seeing me in this tournament, he was a name that no one would have known before the tournament began. And I think everyone's kind of learned the special talent that he is. But do you think, was there a game changer, or do you think it was always a game that it was always just neck and neck? Because I didn't feel like there was a moment that the game changed on its head. It was constantly swinging in terms of momentum?
Yeah, it's always tough to gauge a England-France game because they are that evenly matched. Like in the mid-season internationals, it were a bit more lopsided because weaker squads were named and Jack was still in Australia, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think when Jack and Nathan both came on, we had a bit more of a attacking edge to what we'd seen throughout the tournament, because when them two came on, we seemed to have more flair about how we were attacking. Like, we were putting on players with the starting lineup and they were working, but the speed that Jack possesses, nobody else in the England squad has. And I don't think anybody's going to mind me saying that. Like, Lewis and Rob are ridiculously quick. Like, I can't catch them. But Jack is even faster than them. And I don't know if people will have picked up on it in the game, but there were a couple of points he was laid flat out on his back and just pushed himself straight up onto his wheels. He didn't need to flip over anything. His arms are that long. He can touch the floor behind him and still be touching the wheels at the front of him with his other hand and pushing like that. It's ridiculous. And just him being on the field, I think, gave England that bit of confidence that they could finally get the number on France in a final.
I think that when he came on, I genuinely think he's one of those players where he has that aura about him because he's had such a good tourney that when he came on, it's like one of those. We see it in all different types of sport where, you know, sub comes on, you think, shit, he's good. You know, he's going to change this game. Did you feel, did everyone else feel the same when Jack did come on? That kind of momentum we're going to change?
It was just a lift, wasn't it? Like, even because people know who he is and see what he's done in the tournament. Like
Exactly,
you say, he probably didn't have to play a blinder. He still played incredibly well. But almost like you say, that aura of him coming on the field just lifts people up naturally anyway. But yeah, I got a bit excited personally when I saw him come on. I thought, right,
Me too.
Here we go. But no, I loved the game. It felt to and fro all the time. Momentum was switching all the time. And then there's a certain individual I'm sure we're going to mention at some point.
Can't think who.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the game, Laurie? Did you watch it?
Yeah, it was brilliant entertainment. I've pretty much watched most of the wheelchair games when I can. But no, it was brilliant. It was one of those where you just felt enthralled from the first moment. And
enthralled.
Yes, big word. But no, you just kind of it was such a really tough game, and you could see that the evenness between them both was so clear to see. But no, it was brilliant. And let's be honest, the crowd, you could feel, even on TV, you could sense the crowd were into it. And it wasn't just let's go to a final. It was like everybody was just watching and being taken in by it. Incredible scenes. I wish
that could have been a bigger crowd, because I think it was 4,500 and that sold out, I think, on Tuesday, Wednesday this week. Yeah. They could have got a bigger crowd, I reckon.
Because it's quite a big venue, that place, as well.
Yeah.
I saw a thing that it were only at 42% capacity for what it can fully fit. Yeah. But obviously, with the size of the pitch, you can't extend the pitch for more seats. But if they'd have done corner seats, they'd have fit in another few hundred, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's great to know that they've hit that maximum now, that new attendance, but there's definitely going to be a thirst for more. And probably one of the subjects we'll talk about is how we keep that going. But for me, it's getting those big attendances. But I'll let you chime in, Eddie.
Just on that and attendances, Ewan, do you think that off the back of this, there's obviously now, the game has had incredible, a lot of eyes have been on it, great viewing figures, and a lot of people are new to it and watched it. And I've kind of said on our podcast throughout the whole World Cup to say, if you've never seen a game of wheelchair rugby league, just watch it because it's nothing like you imagine. So there's a lot of positivity around the game now. Do you think that they should kind of, in terms of the venues where they play, do you think they should speculate to accumulate, like mainly at the Rhinos, where people in Leeds in general love sport. They do. They always have. They always will. Do you think maybe they should take a game to the ice rink next to Ellen Road, or a larger venue, or go really big and make a big spectacle of it, and maybe something like a Magic Weekend where we get all the teams together, like at Leeds Direct Arena. I'm kind of thinking out loud here, but do you think that kind of scope is something that they should be looking towards?
I hope so, because the viewing figures have been ridiculous for what we're used to. Like, Challenge Cup final, we had a fair few thousand watching. Grand final on Sky, we had a fair few thousand watching. But having, I think at one point it were peaking at, I think I saw 700,000 watching one of England games at some point. And just knowing that there's that many people wanting to watch it, like across the country, is like, it's scary that it's still classed as a small game, but we've got that many people watching, and that with that under the radar compared to the men's game or anything else. But I've had a load of people saying to me, "Oh, how come you're not in the Paralympics," sort of thing? But that had then removed the inclusivity of it for the able-bodied players. And then people have gone, "Oh, well, if it's not a disability sport, it's an inclusive sport, could it go for the Olympics?" And that question stumped me, because that's one I've never been asked before. But I've had so many conversations in the last few days of, do you reckon they'll look at First Direct Arena or lay out a pitch at part of the stadium for a game if it's going to be guaranteed good weather and you can have Headingley Stadium as your venue, sort of thing. And it'd be amazing if we could get something like First Direct Arena or the ice rink, like you say, because the ice rink sits a fair whack compared to the couple of hundred that we get at Beckett, because Beckett's a brilliant venue for the crowds we're getting. This last year, it's been amazing going from a sports hall to a arena, essentially, with proper seating. But if we can just keep pushing and pushing, like the Dean of Leeds Beckett's already said he wants a specialised arena for us and the netball to have as our home venue, with only the 2 lines put on the entire pitch. So there's only wheelchair lines on the actual flooring, and then a mat that goes over that for the netball lines. He's said to us all year he wants that done by the back end at 2020s. He wants that to be done. And then we've had, like I say, everybody on Twitter has been saying, "Oh, can you get First Direct Arena? Can you get here, there, everywhere?" Like, and Magic Weekend, we did have of sorts this year, but that was where the grand final was held with only a couple of small bits of seating at each end of the pitch, which for a rugby game isn't cracking, because you don't want to be looking at it head on. You want to be able to see everything. And it were a good day out, but only having 3 games for the 6 Super League teams was more of a magic afternoon than a magic weekend sort of
weekend carnival type.
So that we have had conversations in Leeds, and I'm sure the England lot have spoke about it as well while they've been in camp, wanting to expand and do a day of championship fixtures followed by a day of Super League in a bigger venue, sort of thing. And or bring more teams up into the Super League so it's more competitive, because you can. It's sad to say that at the start of the season you could put these 3 will be top, these 2, 3 will be at the bottom end fighting for positions, and then you'll have 2 teams floating in middle, sort of thing. But that's because we've only got a small team pool at the moment, and I'm hoping that now that the World Cup's been and gone, a lot more people will get involved. Teams will have to expand and have B teams, C teams. Like North Wales Crusaders have got 50 odd players before the World Cup even started.
Wow.
I think last time I spoke to Harry and Stu Williams, I think they were saying they had 52 players.
Brilliant.
Of 51 players, and only 2 or 3 were able-bodied. The rest were disabled.
That's amazing.
It's incredible to say that us at Leeds have only got 8 players that have played first team this season.
Wow.
The fact that between 2 teams there's 60 of us, and the league leaders have only got 8 of those players. It's outstanding. But having more players, like when Laurie came over to do the come and try, I think we had 16 people, 18 people in a chair without first teamers.
Yeah.
And by the sounds of it, with all these new dates and everything, we have even more people wanting to come and try.
To try.
It's going to mean that our community team can get up and running sooner rather than later and get fixtures in against the likes of Wakefield, Sheffield. There's been talks of Dundee doing a weekend here, and then teams from down here going up to Dundee for a weekend as well. So,
that'd be amazing.
Have you been for a night out in Dundee, Ewan?
I've done Glasgow, not quite Dundee.
You're in for a treat.
So Reece kind of mentioned a certain someone in this game who certainly tried his best to ruin the game, to make the spotlight all about him. What did you make? I'll start with Reece since he brought it up. What did you make of him, Reece?
I think the first thing I want to mention about this is in rugby league we have an issue where we don't have enough international referees from different countries. You know, even the men's grand final we had an England Australian in there, so we have to have the best referees. And if those best referees, whilst we're growing the sport, are from countries that are playing in that same game, then so be it. But those people have to be trusted to referee with integrity, because they're responsible for, 1, making sure it's a safe game, and 2, making sure it's a great game. Because like I said last week, the best games are refereed is because the referee in the middle. But that gentleman had no integrity whatsoever.
That gentleman were an asshole.
Yeah, he was. And I mean, I think Kyle Amor was in the commentary and Mark Wilson, and they had it spot on, just saying it was just outrageous. It was just despicable, really.
That try
that can be allowed. The one he tried to disallow Tom's to win it.
Yeah, at the end, but there was a try before it disallowed, didn't it? And it was like, how's it disallowed it? There's nothing wrong with it.
There was a double tap apparently before that. See, I know the rules now, Ewan. I've been watching it. There was a double tap, and it's like he literally touched it once to the ground, but he was looking for everything. But yeah, it was just. I hope the RFL either comment or investigate that, because that can't happen again. And I love how the crowd just booed him. That was good fun.
Yeah, me too. Became the pantomime villain.
Yeah.
Loz,
what did you make of that tosser?
The tosser. Just, let's give him the correct title. No, it was shameful. I mean, you've got to, if you're an official, it doesn't matter if your home nation's played, you have to be impartial. And there was not a chance he was impartial. Terrible, terrible man. And I just hope he looks back and realizes what a tosspot he was.
I hope he never referees again, to be honest.
Yeah, and that. Yeah.
It's the biggest stage, and no matter what sport it is, I always think I've never ever liked it when things like this happen and they take it away from the athletes that are performing at the highest level, on a grand stage, and kind of I hated it. I just thought
I'm really pleased England won, because if England hadn't won, it would have been really overshadowed the final on the occasion, and in what's kind of has happened, because England did win, regardless of that horrendous nature. It hasn't overshadowed it a bit. I was a bit worried it was overshadowed the win, but I think by the time it comes Saturday, everyone was still happy that England won. Yeah. But I don't know what. We'll ask the wheelchair player now, because I don't know if Ewan's met him before or come across him in history. But was it a surprise, Ewan, if you do know him or have seen him in the past?
Thankfully, I've never had to deal with him. He is a French league ref, so I've never. He's done England-France games in mid-season internationals, Euros before, and everything seems to go France's way when he's head ref. So I think the organisers did right having Ollie, a Scot, as head ref, even if he didn't take charge as much as I'd expect him to, because I know Ollie quite well, and when he's made a decision, he stands by that decision until the day he dies. And I think it was with the Jack Brown disallowed try, Ollie was trying to explain to him that it was chair-on-chair contact and he was within a chair's length of the try line. Which
so can Jack do that? Because there was someone that the halftime analysis was saying that no, it wasn't, because you can't leap out of your chair to kind of do it. But
see, I would say that I get on with Martin really well. Martin's a brilliant bloke, and I get where he's coming from with the no, it shouldn't have counted. But I'd say that Jack was mid-push, so you're always leaning forward when you're pushing. He's not thrown himself out of the chair. He's gone into contact and had hold of the ball on his lap as he's gone into the contact, and the contact has stopped his wheels but not his chair, because they've not been right in front of him. They've kind of wedged him on his wheels, which has made him then fall forward, which he has then picked up the ball and grounded it. And if that's in the league, I personally feel like that would have been given every day of the week, twice on a Sunday. But because it's international and it was a French ref in a French game, and I was later informed that apparently he is related to one of the French staff or players.
Of course he is.
That
Sacre bleu.
I can't confirm whether it's true or not. It was a Twitter comment that was on one of my comments to John Bateman asking why it was disallowed. Because we had John Bateman watching, which is massive. And he turned around and went, oh, and he's also related to someone in the French setup, which was news to me. But the fact that he was just arguing constantly with Ollie doesn't surprise me, because if that is true, he's never going to want his family to lose. And I'm pretty sure they flew over on the same plane and were staying in the same hotel, sort of thing, with them all being together.
But did that though, Ewan, because we won. So it makes it even better.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of ways we talk about the wheelchair game first. One, it was the best game of the weekend. Two, we brought Ewan on. And three, Lottie doesn't want to talk about Australia winning.
I'm gonna stretch this podcast out as far as I can.
But we do have to do it. We do have to do it. So, man of the match from the England-France game. Laurie, I'll start with you.
I thought Tom, to be fair.
Yeah, I did.
I thought he had an absolute blinder.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Ewan?
I'd have given it to Jack or Nathan. I think when they came on, it changed the dynamic of the team. So Tom had a brilliant game, and he knows I'll always back him to win as a game if it's that close. But I think Tom and Nathan had a bigger impact when they came on than anything else that happened in the game.
Cool. I'm going to say the touch judge. Right. Lloyd, do you want to talk about your favourite team?
Not yet.
Oh.
Not just yet. Not just yet. Yesterday, was it yesterday, Laurie? Was it Thursday? Friday?
Oh, yes.
Laurie met someone incredibly special, two incredibly special people at Bradford City. We did tweet the videos. I completely forgot to tag Laurie in them, so I have to apologise first of all. So I forgot to tag Lorna's View in them. I was in a rush at work, just like, oh my god, I can't believe this has happened. Laurie, you met Sir Kev as he finished at Bradford City. I've had a lot of people text me, DM me. You probably have as well. How, what, where, why? Laurie, do you want to explain how you got on the pitch with Kev and JJB and
Yeah, I've got to be a bit careful because I don't want to drop my friend in it. So my friend who I was with on Friday does a Bradford City podcast. And basically, he knows quite a few people at Bradford. So we got down to Bradford at Valley Parade, and we got there, and the crowds were quite big actually outside. I was quite surprised. Yeah. And we walked into the stadium because the stadium was open, and we had a chat with a couple of the Bradford City players and the mascot. And next thing you know, we noticed like one of the things to the pitch was open, and I was like, "Oh, should we go on pitch?" And my friend was like, "Oh, I don't know if the people let me or the person that I know is on there."
That's right, Laurie. You just drag him along.
Yeah, I did.
We are the lot pod. He doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So we walked on and
who gives a shit if you get thrown out of Bradford City?
So I would, because you get thrown into Manningham Lane, so that's probably a bit worse.
I had to be a bit careful, so we approached Bradford people. They were fine with it. And then Phil Daly, who's the Rhinos media top blogger, he was there. I just politely asked him, and he was sound. He was like, "Yeah, I said, look,
excellent, thank you, Phil.
Yeah, I'll wait literally till the end. You know, if it has to be, is it possible?" He was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Just take your time." And the best bit was there were JJB just stood and he was talking to a couple of guys, but they weren't exactly doing anything. So I was like, "JJB, could we do a little interview for you for the Lot Pod?" Leeds Rhinos, podcast thing. And he was like, "Yeah, all right then, yeah." And he was brilliant straight away. Built it. Yeah,
you was wrong actually. I heard you say, "Yeah, I love the Lot Pod, Laurie. Of course, I'll do an interview for you." I heard that, didn't you, Eddie?
He did say that. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, my bad. And then Kevin was free, so I kind of got the signal to go.
Kevin,
literally,
mates.
Yeah. So we just filmed it. Yeah, and honestly, it was quite funny actually because I've had people ask me, "Going, were you nervous?" And I was like, I can't even remember. We just started talking. Yeah. So it was brilliant. And to be fair, you wouldn't have thought he'd just run like best part of like 40 miles, you know, or he'd just covered so many miles. He just literally was fine, and you know,
seemed so okay. Cool and calm, isn't it? Oh,
and it was
really good looking as well.
Well, what a legend, love him. But no, he was brilliant, and fair play. He's done an absolutely incredible achievement, hasn't he? So
unbelievable.
I mean, the guy is just
total. The total now is at £1,808,258 as we speak, and then gift aid on top of that, which is another 346,000.
Wow, unbelievable, Kevin.
It's just when you think about it, and I've said this to my friend actually as we left Valley Parade. I went, I feel honoured to have seen him play for my team. Just, I know it sounds daft to say, but it's like such a nice guy, and you don't realise what he did for our club. And it's like just, I know it sounds daft to say, it's all just now that you say that he was literally the staple that kept the book together. I think
it is. You're right. It's one of those things where you don't know what you've got till it's gone, and you don't know how lucky you are. You know, in that aspect, it's on in certain situations where you kind of step away from something.
Yeah,
you realise how good or bad that. Well, thankfully for us. We're incredibly lucky because regardless of if he played for us or not, we'd still be in awe of this man. You know, if it was a Saints player or, you know, we'd still be like, wow, what an achievement. But the fact that he's one of us and the things he did for us, because it could be a player that was just a teammate. You know, if he played for Cass or something, they would have won nothing. But we still would have been saying, what a player, you know, what a guy, that the things he's doing for his teammate, for his friend. But the fact that it is Kev and everything he did in the game, everything he won the lot, you know, more than once. It's just, I'm just in awe. And I think
what's really
the reception that I got at half time.
Oh, it's just incredible, wasn't it?
Proves that the kind of what I say there, that the whole of the rugby league community is in awe of him, because I don't know how he stays so composed, you know, like in certain situations, he meets people with MND and who it's affecting and all these people, and he just stays ice cool. I would be
when you hear him talk, you listen, don't you?
Yeah.
Simple as that. And there was a clip of him meeting somebody yesterday who'd got MND at the side of the road. And he was like, I'm so sorry, I can't stay for long. And he literally listened and he was like, I'm so sorry, I have to go. And you could see in his face, he felt gutted. And it was just like, what a man. What a man.
Absolutely unbelievable. Just in awe of him and everything that he's done.
But yeah, thanks Phil Daly, by the way, if he is watching.
Thank you, Phil. Very kind. Yeah, thank you, Laurie, because you did say to me, you did mention to me off air, one-on-one, that, you know, this.
I would
there was
try.
there was a possibility that this could happen, and you're a man of your word, Laurie. You are a legend, and it went down a storm. The video, I can't remember. I'm not sure how many hits it's got on mine and yours and Twitter feeds, but
A lot.
it went down amazingly, and we are going to take that as Kev's appearance on the Lot Pod, thanks to this man. Laurie.
No, I'm not settling for that.
No, I'm not. No.
Is he going to come on?
And JJB, both of those people. I'm not settling
and JJB as well. No, you're right. Andrew had that in LUFC stats for Danny Maggs. He had that in. You're a face to Kev now, Lauren. So now we're relying on you. You're the in to get Kev on.
Oh, God.
JJB's been helping out at the wheelchair team for the last few months.
You're the in.
Right, you're in as well. You're in as well.
Have we dragged it out enough? Is there anything else we can talk about? Did anybody watch Ecuador versus Qatar today? Should we talk about that?
Right, shut up. New Zealand, Australia. Why have you put?
If you want to talk about that again, we can. It was a great game.
We put the wrong living banner on. Hang on, we started so professional. 2 sponsors, massive company, and now we're doing the wrong things. Right. No, actually, that was okay. Samoa, Australia. Favorite thing about this game for me, everyone just booing the Aussies.
Yeah, it was great. If from the warm up, we kind of said it with that Samoa, it would be 99.9% Samoan in that dump of the ground, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it was so great. Even from the warm up, you could hear people going, booing them. I thought, yes. But in hindsight, and kind of did you expect anything? Did you think Samoa might get close to them, or did you just expect the Aussies to win it easily?
There was a hope that they'd be a bit closer. Yeah. I was hoping that they'd keep it to maybe a 1 score, maybe a 8 to 10 point victory. 20 points does Australia justice. It does Samoa an injustice more than anything. Because it was that last 5 minutes they scored twice, didn't they? I think it was. I only got around to watching it this morning because yesterday we ended up out all day, so I had them both recorded. But I only got around to watching the men's game, unfortunately. I didn't see the women's. I've just seen the highlights of it. But I was hoping that Luai and Crichton, and especially Toto, would stand up more than they did to their opposites and give them a battle like they did last week against us. But I think last week against us might have just took it out of them having that extra.
I think so.
That extra few minutes of play, because I know on the outside it doesn't seem much, but just playing that extra few minutes that you're not used to is draining. And I know they had a week to recover, but when you've got to train and you've got media and you've got all that sort of thing to incorporate into it, you don't really get as much recovery time that you need for that, even if it was just 3 minutes extra. But when it's played at such an intense level and it's win or go home, it's you give everything that you've got for as long as you need to, and that just takes it out of you in the long run. So
there was two little moments though. There was 2 little moments where Samoa could have made that a closer game. Both of them, I think, out of their control. One was the 40-20 that wasn't given. And even if it wasn't a 40-20, he had his foot on the line, so it was in touch when he touched it. And I'm not saying they would have scored from that, but
I was so pissed off when they didn't give
the ball bounced on the line after as well.
Yeah, so but just they were having that position so early in the game. If they get a try or at least have that field position so early, things might have been different, and they might not have got those 2 tries quite shortly after. So that's a bit of not defining, but a game change. No, I don't know. I don't want to make it sound like there is injustice because Australia
it muddied the waters early on, didn't it?
It did, but Australia were just clinical regardless. But and then the other thing was the clear red card.
That was the
daylight, absolute daylight. I don't understand any rule in either union or league. I mean, union, you'd get banned for weeks.
Union would have been banned, banned till next World Cup.
I don't understand why that wasn't a red.
If that, right, I'll put it this way. Yes, that was such a blatant red card. Laurie, if that's the opposite way, and it's Tavita Harris on, who was it, Crichton?
Yeah.
Is that a red card, Laurie?
Of course it is. Yeah.
If that's in Super League and that's James Bentley running into...
I was thinking the same thing.
It's a frog match to RFL meeting on Monday morning if that were...
With a season ban.
He's kicked out again.
In fact, maybe that's what he did to Victor Radley. Maybe that's what it was.
No. But no, the thing is, it's like, if that's Ashley Klein, because it was clear as day what he did, but Ashley Klein won't penalise it because it's going to affect him personally in NRL.
I don't think it's unfair to criticise Ashley Klein because he was a very good referee in the Australia-New Zealand game. I think it comes down to the team that he has around him to make that decision as a refereeing side team. So I'm not going to put it just down to him. It's the refereeing team having clarity on. It's a red card.
There were those other two calls as well. So they missed quite a big few calls in that game.
He wouldn't have seen the touch line.
Yeah,
that comes down to the sideline judge. And why?
The officials? Yeah.
And why is the TMO not going? That's out.
But
I don't know if he can.
Can the captain's challenge be used on that elbow, on that forearm?
No, because they looked at it in the TMO, didn't they? They could have used it for the touch, though, surely.
Could have used it for
the
touch.
Could have used it for touchline.
Because it wasn't a pause in play. Play had continued. And they've only got 10 seconds after the incident. So if it's in touch and the play takes 12 seconds, it's outside the 10 seconds.
There's also no way that, from your field position, it's very, you're going to be like, did that go in touch? You can't waste it, can you really? Because if it's not thingy. But that was the clearest red card. And the worst thing for me watching that was knowing, I knew, cover your ears, George. In fact, I fucking knew that they wouldn't send him off. Did anyone else feel the same?
Yeah.
I just knew for the fact. I knew he'd get binned. I knew that. But I knew it wasn't going to be a red card. And it was that moment I just thought, it's just moments. We kind of said, in fact, I think it was Bry that said last week, Reese, that for Samoa to get close and possibly win, they need to get an Aussie.
Yeah, Bry said that they needed to get a red card, really.
He should have been sent off. It's just, it makes me sick.
I hate him.
I do, honestly. They're so good, it just pisses me off.
And sorry to say this, they had the cheek to celebrate like mad. These are the same people. This is the same team that didn't want to come over last year because of COVID. Oh, they haven't played any international. No, you've got no right to celebrate. You have
at
no
least
right
they did celebrate, Laurie. At least
That's
they actually
true.
did celebrate.
You would rather they did celebrate, Lols, rather than being like, so what? We're so good. we can win it playing.
And it was like they enjoyed it. They did look like they enjoyed it in terms of actually winning it. It would have been a better spectacle with that being England, Australia, or even if it was just Aussie, New Zealand semi-final. But Samoa weren't bad. I thought they were a bit leakier in defence than they were against us. Or was that Australia being just much more clinical than England? I'm not sure. Probably mixed.
Australia are clinical. They did it against New Zealand. They have a chance to take it. It's what they do. But I think last week for Samoa was their big dance. I just, against England, it was a massive, massive historic achievement for them to get to the final. I'm not saying that, once they got there, the competition winners, but I did feel that way. And I just felt like it took so much out of them. They weren't going to get close. I think I said Australia by about 40 on the predictions, but it is a massive achievement them playing that way. But for me, is anyone going to beat Australia in the near future? I can't. I felt like this Kiwi side, the England side were appalling, but this Kiwi side was one of the strongest I've seen in a long while. And even then, they went at full tilt and the Aussies still beat them.
I'm going to say but only if these internationals become a regular thing.
Yeah.
Because you only get to know the opposition more and understand them better and understand how to play them better if you actually play them. So if it's going to be another 3 years, Australia will win because they just have the quality. And, at least give these teams more opportunity to play against each other, to give them the chance to be able to learn about them and beat them.
Yeah.
That'd be my response.
You agree?
The sport needs
silent room. You often do that.
To be fair, Samoa have seen all of the celebrations going on back home with the street parades and the floats and everything of them getting there. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that's come from it is knowing that Dwayne Johnson watches rugby league.
Yeah.
I think that
was big news for us.
It was. I was just scrolling through Twitter and then I saw Rugby League World Cup has retweeted and it's Dwayne Johnson. I'm like,
can we get him on the pod?
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you do, I'll come back. Yeah. that'll be written in diary months in advance.
What position would the Rock be?
Second row.
Do you think?
Row. Yeah.
A bit like Alilawa Titi in that mould. That's what I'm seeing. Good hands, good offload, out the back.
Just don't let him rock bottom anybody. He'd be banned every other week.
They did the. I don't think it's called a hacker. You'll have to excuse me.
Civitao, isn't it? No, that's the Tongan one. No, hang on. I think that's the Tongan one.
Civitao's the Fiji one. The Civitao is. I think it might be the Samoan.
Civitao. It's the Civitao.
The Civitao. I do apologise.
Yeah.
They did the Civitao again. It was amazing. The whole.
But.
Yeah, it was amazing. They did the big build up, and it seemed to go on forever. I said to Harriet, my wife, I said they're really going to get touching noses with the Aussies here to try and intimidate, and they did it all. And even Harriet were like, "Wow, this is impressive." And then at the end, Reese,
someone had a hug again, and I text you straight away. It wasn't. I blamed Harry Grant. I don't think it was Harry Grant actually that did it.
Cam Munster.
Cam Munster and Brian Toto, I think. Oh. What's the point, Laurie? Are you a fan of this? Great big song and then war dance, and then they just go, "Oh, is there any point?"
There was two of them. Sorry, Laurie, I'm jumping in on this.
Nice.
There's two of them were literally nose to nose. I think was it Samoan fullback? I can't remember, but there were two of them literally nose to nose, weren't there, Laurie?
Mm-hmm. I saw the clip, yeah.
And then those two go and have a bloody hug.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
You're supposed to be intimidating, aren't you?
Exactly, and it is. It is intimidating. And then you go, "You fancy?
I'll give you a hug."
Like, what's the point? What is the point?
Give him
supposed to be, striking fear into him, trying to have some kind of advantage, and then you cuddle. I just think, Jesus Christ! And then Reese texts me instantly. Was that a cuddle again?
It's just wrong.
It is. It's wrong. Stop doing it. Stop. Cuddle at half time if you have to cuddle them.
Or at the end.
Have a break. Whisper to them, I'll cuddle you at half time. Yeah, it's fine. I'll cuddle you at half time. An amazing attendance. I think it was 67,800 and something. It is a big deal. But I've said it loads. This ground is a dump. It stinks. It's rotting. The in-goals don't look good. They're all half turf, half AstroTurf. Around the ground, it's a dump. There's nothing there.
They sell carling.
Yeah, it's awful, awful, awful. Do you think, Laurie, it's probably asked this a million times, but do you think it's time we kind of stopped utilising this shithole and went somewhere else with this? With grand finals, with rugby league finals. Do you think we should say, right, we're done with that?
It's awful.
They've rinsed the sport since 1998. I think they've had their day. We have to go elsewhere. There is much better stadia now across the whole of the UK that we can be utilised. Do you think Old Trafford now, that's it?
Oh, yeah, it's got to be. I mean, one of my friends is a fan of that particular football club, and he was there yesterday.
Thank you for not saying them.
Yeah, and he went up to buy 3 beers at the ground, and they're like, "Oh, that's £15." And he went, "Oh, that's only £9 normally at football." So literally did put prices up yesterday. No, it's a dump. It really is.
You should see the prices they put the beer up at Wembley for the American football.
Oh, I can imagine.
That's £7 or £8 a pint.
Oh, no, for me, Old Trafford it feels old. And you're literally at the seats and you're cramped. The facilities underneath the stands awful.
Right. Yeah.
Nah, and it's a nightmare to get away from, actually, I always find Old Trafford's a pain in the backside to get away
from. I just find it nostalgically shite, which is why I don't mind it.
So almost like a museum. Is that what you're trying to say? Like a sporting museum?
I like the fact that it's all close together, and the fact if you move a slight inch, you lose everyone's drinks next to you. But you are still quite close to the pitch. I mean, I don't like the Emirates. And I don't really agree with moving it away, despite the stadium and who plays there, X, Y, and Z, and the fact it is a dump. But the only stadium I'd move it to is Tottenham.
Yeah.
And
because that is the best stadium I have ever been to.
Well, it's unbelievable. It's probably the best stadium in Europe. You know, so and it's there. Ewan, do you agree? Are you a fan of Old Trafford? Do you think it's a dump or?
I've only been once, and that like 2012.
Look at you.
I know. Not been in 10 years.
Look at you. Just its state of it now.
Yeah. But like, I don't know where. Like you said, the only other place that you could move it is Tottenham because it's state of the art, and they've managed to fit 2 pitches into one stadium because the football pitch lifts up and goes under the seats.
Yeah.
And that's just stupid. Just repaint your lines. Give up. But
too much money.
Yeah. It's more money than
it's the money coming from the NFL. That's why they've done it.
That's why they are.
But if you were to move it, it'd be both of his major finals, both in London.
Well, sorry, I was thinking on that because if they did say one of them is at either or, you could you could use Etihad still in
St James's Park,
and then I'm going to say Newcastle as well. I think we need to jump on that off the back of Magic because that's an expansion zone, and there's Newcastle Thunder there, and they're flirting with those, and people love. Newcastle is like a million times better city than Manchester. It just is. It's a better nightlife. The people are better. The people don't stink as much. They're more friendly. yeah. And rugby league fans have had a taste of Newcastle. And of all the people, Laurie's been that have been to Magic up there, not one of them has said to me that were awful. They've all said, no, we're brilliant. It's perfect.
It's a fantastic say.
You think it'd make a good grand final location, Laurie, if the Challenge Cup were to move to to Spurs or something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of when you run about it then. I was trying to think of a downside in Newcastle.
I think there is one.
I mean, maybe a few more hotels, but otherwise, nice and brilliant.
Might be a bit chilly in October.
Oh, they're all right. No, it's warm. Not in October in Newcastle. It's warm. Honestly, trust me. They're not bothered by temperature.
You weatherman as well.
I've been being out with Geordies. There's never a temperature that's cold.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Australia won the World Cup, unfortunately.
Yeah, let's gloss over that.
Yeah, we don't care about that. But yeah, we have to talk about it. So Australia did beat 30-10 final score. We did ask on Twitter earlier. We wanted to know your thoughts, as in you listening, you watching, you on Twitter. We asked a couple of questions. I think it were 5 questions. I'll go through the panel and then I'll read some of these out that we got on Twitter. So, Reese, I'll start with you first, and then we'll work our way around. What would you rate this World Cup out of 10? And before you answer this, all these questions are across the whole World Cup, so they're not just the men's game, the wheelchair, the women's PDRL, etc. So the whole World Cup as an event, Reese, what would you rate it out of 10?
So I've been told you can't give a 7 because 7 is apparently the classic sitting on the fence number, apparently. There you go. You didn't realise you're attending a TED Talk today, did you?
I better change my score
then.
I never.
Having said that, I'm going to go with 7 because...
Do you want to get that splinter?
Yeah.
The reason why is because that's my average across the 4 tournaments for me. I think the wheelchair and PDRL and women probably elevate that, and I think the men's
massively,
and the men's bring it down for me slightly.
I agree.
So yeah, I'm gonna go for 7 after that TED Talk.
Ewan, what do you rate this World Cup out of 10?
As a spectacle, it's been brilliant. Like the fanfare, the players on the show, the teams, minus the green and golds. have been the wheelchair green and golds are a lovely set of lads.
Oh, there you go. Not all Australians are bad.
No, and I can't really say for the women because I've not really spoke to a single one of them. But the wheelchair lads seem like a nice set of blokes.
I wouldn't want to play against those women, by the way.
No,
no, thanks.
I'd rather take on the Kiwis than the Kiwi Ferns.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Big Nelson running at me than Amber or any of the others.
Absolutely.
I'd give it. I reckon it's an 8 for. It's the ticketing and all that's dragged it down for me because that were a ball ache trying to get tickets and the website wasn't working.
Oh, it crashed, I know.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, not good. Laurie, out of 10 for the World Cup?
8.2.
Nah, so accurate.
I've given it some serious thought, but 8.2.
I agree with Reese. 7 out of 10. I think as it progressed, particularly from the starting point of that horrendous opening ceremony, where everything just went, I just thought, oh my God, here we go. But then as it picked up, the games got better. Samoa, Tonga, and Australia, New Zealand, and games like that. So I think it did progress into something that we thought we might have had at the start. So I'd say 7 out of 10. Ian says 9 out of 10. Ian East Leeds. Monsieur Rogue, 6 out of 10. Bry from 6 again, 8 out of 10. Gary Ormerson, 6 out of 10. David Grant, 8 out of 10. If you only concentrate on the on-field stuff, which is kind of what Ewan were kind of saying there. Steve Morgan, 6 out of 10. Nick Hayward, 8 out of 10, really enjoyed it. Stephen Hodgson, 7 out of 10. Josh Jackson, 6 out of 10. So we're all on a bit of an even keel there. The next question was player of the tournament. Ewan, who was your player of the World Cup?
Oh,
he's going to go for his best mate, putting tenure on this.
Tom. To be fair, no, some women have played so much better. Tom started out slow, and I've told him he'd been rusty in those first couple of games. I told him that he were rusty, and to say he's just come off the back of a really good season with Leeds, I don't get why he was so. He seemed slow.
Same guy that just won the World Cup, by the way.
Just got the winning try. Yeah.
He can break off the rust and get into his stride eventually. I'll give him that.
Not a bad player.
I'd have to give it to one at women. Fran Goldthorpe had a brilliant first World Cup at fullback. Georgia Roach has had a brilliant game. Tara Jane Stanley should stick to fullback because she's outstanding there. And
I think she played 3 positions, didn't she?
Played
fullback, centre, wing.
Yeah. She played centre, got named as winger for team of the tournament, but then at York plays fullback. It doesn't make sense. But for me, it's got to be Courtney Winfield-Hill with the way that she was guiding the team around, kicking everybody to death. I reckon if Leeds could get another season out of her if she changed her mind on retiring.
You took the words out of my mouth. I think off the back of her form on this World Cup, I mean, I don't know about her own personal, story, but the fact she's retired or retiring, I just think, why?
If we get Georgia Hale and Courtney stayed, could you imagine that spine?
It'd be
Hale. Hale, Georgia Roach. Is it Georgia Hale? No, it's not, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah, Georgia Hale.
Georgia
Courtney Winfield-Hill.
And Courtney Winfield-Hill.
That spine of 13, 6, and 7.
It'd be stupid.
Stupidly good.
Yeah, no, I think I spoke to Courtney after last group game, and she turned around and went, "Look, I think she said she's 36. She's played for the last 4 years, and her body's just not agreeing with it anymore. It's a Jamie Peacock situation. He was not recovered by the time the next game came around.
Game rolled around, yeah.
So she said she might come back after next year, but at the same time, she's going to see how a year off suits her. and if it suits her, she said she's staying out of a playing role. But by the sounds of that, it was
to Lois.
Yeah. Imagine Lois and Courtney as a coach and assistant coach.
What a combo for the Rhinos that would be. That's unbelievable. I agree, though. She's been one of the best players. Laurie, your player of the tournament, mate?
Ado Carr. Unbelievable.
Do you want to kick him from the stream, Reese, or shall I?
Yeah, well,
no, to be fair, literally, just
we've got to keep him.
No Aussies!
We've got to keep him on because he's going to get us Kevin Sinfield, isn't he? Because he's best mate. So once he's done that, then he won't come back on again.
Keep him sweet. Keep him sweet.
So, yeah. Sorry. Don't worry, that's the only Aussie that I'm thinking of. But he's been amazing.
He has. He's been...
For me, there was 2 names. Jack Brown.
Correct.
One, and the other one, Joey Manu.
Correct. I've got it written here.
Just in sync.
Just so in sync. I'll change mine then. I'm going to keep Joey Manu because I think, as I said all the time, he's the best looking player in the game and he's awesome. And am I right in saying he won the golden?
He got the golden boot, yeah.
He won the golden boot, so that's kind of proof in the pudding. Who else shall I say? I'll say Jerome Luai. I think he's, the way he plays and his attitude, winding players up. I think he's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Team of the tournament, Reese. I think there's only one winner here, really, is there?
I don't know.
I'm going Australia. We're finished.
I'm going to go with the Samoa men's team.
Really?
For this. One, because players chose to play for their heritage. One, first time Pacific Island nation played for Rugby League, Rugby Union World Cup final. I think if in rugby union, if people play for their heritage, New Zealand, Australia, and the rest of the countries won't be anywhere near as strong. So it's great to see that. And to beat England after getting thumped at St. James's Park is a hell of a comeback. So I'm going to say Samoa.
Yeah. Ewan, team of the tournament?
It's going to be an oddball for you, but I think the Brazil women.
Oh, wow.
I honestly think the vibes that they brought, the attitude to it, they knew they weren't coming in to win. Most of the teams got a union background from what I remember rightly from commentary and everything. So they knew they weren't going to touch England, Australia, New Zealand in terms of getting close for getting out at groups. But their attitude of never giving in, the game that I saw them play live against Canada, what she called Santini, she's 5'0", I think, and she jumped higher than half the Canada players, got an interception and ran 88 meters to score. And the way that they all celebrated with her when they all eventually got to the other end of the field, it was as if they'd won the World Cup. It was a brilliant atmosphere for them, just for them scoring. The way that they all celebrated when they scored against England was just so wholesome to see, and it was just a brilliant thing to happen for a minnow team in the first ever Rugby League World Cup. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Laurie,
sorry. No,
go ahead.
Laurie's not said. Laurie's gone. No, is he gone? No, hang on.
Hello. I've got 2, and Brazil women, I was going to say, absolutely incredible. And even after the final game, they were all happy and smiley, and it was joy. It was a proper joy to watch. My other joint team is a bit left field. Andrew Voss and Kyle Amor.
Laurie! Wow, Vossy
team. That is the team of the tournament.
Out from?
That is the team. Them two, when they commentated, made any game seem special.
I think the love for Andrew Voss this World Cup has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I know he put something on Twitter saying he's catching up with his messages because I think he's flying home, whatever. But it's just, he has covered, and I mean this, he has covered this World Cup better than anyone, better than any news outlet, better than any broadcaster, better than any journalist. He has invested his time in where he's staying, in the towns, the food, the pubs, the journey. He has given everybody the whole flavour of the World Cup, better than anyone else. And to be honest, I think every other journalist, broadcaster, whoever, media outlet should learn from him, because that's the real story of the World Cup. Not just
they have to step up. They have
exactly. It's not just about. And I know it's in France next, and that's the kind of coverage you need. You don't just need journo turning up, taking a picture at stadium and saying, "This is the teams. This is the team sheet. This is who scored the tries. This is who got injured." We know that. We watch that.
Yeah,
that's the job of the broadcaster. We want more. Especially in this world now where everybody's got a platform. We have Twitter, Instagram, and Andrew Voss has completely swallowed all that up. And it's no coincidence that everybody kind of thanked him. When he said, "I'm flying home now," everyone was like, "Oh wow, thanks for all your hard work and everything you've done." You didn't say that for anyone else, did you?
Dave, no offense to Dave Woods or anybody like that. No, but you're right.
He's really swallowed and kind of. We'll see it again in France because he's coming over, and we'll see it again, and everybody's prepared for it. Voss is coming over and his whole coverage. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He smashed it, and to be honest, I think the BBC missed a trick in not using him more. I hope they do in 2025 for the next World Cup.
They'll learn from that.
I think, especially, it should be. Matt Newsom did great on all. He did a lot of the Aussie games, but utilize Andrew Voss. He covers the NRL. Use him in these games, and people want to hear him. But yeah, where did you pluck that from?
I thought earlier that's the team. Him and Kyle Amor, they bounced off each other. Brilliant.
Unbelievable.
So Lottie, before you say yours, I've just looked through your tweet and I've been looking through some of the responses. And I know we can't lose listeners because we need to grow as a podcast. But Steve Hodgson voted Aussie men's. Someone else voted Aussie men's as well, actually. Hang on, let me go
Nick
down.
Hayward.
Nick Hayward did, yeah. Ian did Aussie women, so that's kind of like half all right. But I'm assuming your team of the tournament isn't Australia.
It isn't. No, not at all. My team in the tournament is England wheelchair side. They won it. They got the big one. I think that were a pretty easy choice. Other than that, the story
England PDRL as well. Sorry, England PDRL.
Yes, and PDRL of course, who should have been at Old Trafford, and it's an absolute fucking travesty that they weren't there. They should have been invited on the pitch, but that's another story. The other kind of story and journey I loved at the World Cup, and it did kind of sink its teeth into me, were Greece. I thought the whole story of them, and I think it was Laurie actually who kind of said he'd followed them for years, and how the game of rugby league were banned. It was illegal there, and their story of coming. I know they didn't win a game or anything, but the pictures that we saw from Athens, in the pubs, and something to really grow. And similar to what Ewan said about Brazil, when they scored, it became like they'd won the World Cup, and that kind of bleeds into the next question of I think it was try of the tournament. For me, it was that Greece one. I think it was Billy. What's it called? Billy
Magulius.
Yeah, who put the kick in? Was it against? Who was it against? Was it against
France? Was it France?
France. Yeah, that try for me was the try of the tournament, because off the cuff kind of play that Greece seemed to adapt into. That for me. But then there has been some beauties, and I've noticed on Twitter quite a couple of people have said Josh Addo-Carr's from Ellen Road from Ben Hunt's kick, which I kind of can't disagree with. Try of the tournament, Laurie, which has been your favourite?
I've got to say the Brazilian lass. I thought that try was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And you just watched it happen, and you're like, she's going to do it. She's going to do it. She's going to do it.
Everybody pushing her on.
Just magic. I mean, that's what rugby league should be about. Just things like that.
I agree. Reece, try of the tournament.
Tonga's winner against Papua New Guinea.
As
I said, we said it last week.
You've died on this hill, haven't you?
I'm still not over. I said it last week. I said it when it happened. I'm still not over that prop doing that kick after 36 passes. Doesn't have the right to do it. No
After Prop Forward Union tweeted about this kick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a that game. The reason why there's also that try is my favorite because it was an awesome finish to an awesome game, and that's how the best games end like that. That's another reason why.
Were it Takiaho that put that kick in?
Correct.
Yeah.
Who I believe has signed for Catalan.
Yeah, he's a goal kicker anyway. He used to kick goals for Roosters. So the fact that it takes people by surprise that he can kick still surprises me.
I forgot he was a goal kicker.
But he used to kick goals for Roosters for fun, and then they got other people in that could also kick, and he got knocked down.
Even that's not right. No one that is more than 17 stone should be a goal kicker.
That's still Union. They get fined. Yeah.
Prop Forward Union needs to get in touch with him.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. He was kicking for Roosters. I'm just looking now, but even then, it's still not right.
Try of the tournament, Ewan.
Jack Brown's after he got one disallowed. Just the way that he looked at the ref as if to say, "Go on, deny me that one. I dare you."
Is that one okay?
Yeah, because I know what Jack's like, and he doesn't take things to heart at all. Him and Stu Williams from Wales are probably two of the biggest jokers in the game, and the way that he just turned around and looked at the ref and was like, "You got anything to say about that one?"
Yeah, is that one legal?
It just made my evening. It gave me a nice little chuckle as well. So yeah, I've got to go with Jacks.
What a really good try. Ian says Latrell Mitchell. Yeah, don't know about that. Latrell Mitchell's first in the final. Big fend on a big player. Monsieur Roog, Neil Scarlett says Jack Brown, which is what Ian has just said. I don't know what I said there. The next
there's a lot of Addo-Cars in there.
Yeah, Addo-Car from Gary. Addo-Car from David Grant. Addo-Car from Steve Morgan. Addo-Car versus Scotland from Nick Haywood.
That was a good one. That was very impressive.
Stephen Hodgson, Addo-Car, try versus New Zealand, of course. And Josh Jackson, Addo-Car from the semi-final from the kicks. I think Addo-Car, unfortunately, has won the lot pod try of the tournament. What about moment of the tournament, Reese? What was your moment of the World Cup?
I enjoyed all the teams being together, lifting the trophy, but again, PDRL weren't there, which is a bit of a shame. I enjoyed the Samoa Tonga doing the Civitao and the Civitao. Was that one against each other? That was good, but my favourite moment, because it symbolises rugby league well and truly, is Ricky Wilson running up and down the sidelines being paid to do the entertainment because he couldn't do any music.
That's his moment of the World Cup.
Yeah, right at the start.
The very first thing that went wrong. Laurie, moment of the World Cup, mate?
It's got to be Sinfield for me.
Wow, really, yeah?
You can think about it. It was in the backdrop of the World Cup and everything. And to come out at half-time and to have the whole crowd pretty much still in the seats at half-time, pretty spectacular. And it just felt right for me.
Your mate, Kev. Wow, that them two now. Best buds. Ewan, favourite moment of the World Cup?
I think it's got to be all records broken for wheelchair attendance.
Yeah.
Really
impressive.
That are the top 5 of the top 10 trending on Twitter for wheelchair final, because it's not expected of
a big deal.
A little game played in sports halls. You don't expect it to be 5 of the top 10 trending on Twitter for the entirety of the United Kingdom. So it's got to be one of them.
Ian Eastlead says on Twitter, the match of Canada versus Brazil had everything. Monsieur Rogue says the wheelchair final whistle. Yeah, I agree with that. Six again says the Sippy Tau versus the Civitao. Reese kind of touched on that. Gary Ormison says the Crichton drop goal at Emirates. Yeah, it was a beauty. David Grant says Kevin Sinfield doing his run for a mate at halftime at Old Trafford. Steve Morgan says Tonga versus Samoa. Nick Hayward, moment of the tournament, Ben Jones Bishop's try for Jamaica versus New Zealand, which is what I agree with. I think that was a real, like, World Cup in a nutshell. You know, like they celebrated like they'd won something because it was such a momentous occasion. Stephen Hodgson says Halliwell scoring the winning try against France in the final. And Josh
Don't tell him that his ego's big enough.
Josh Jackson says England's wheelchair side winning the final. I agree. Lots and lots of great moments from a great World Cup, I'd say, overall. Gentlemen, Laurie, Reese, Ewan, thank you so much for coming on. Ewan, we are going to organise a Lot Pod meet-up, a Lot Pod get-together for a wheelchair game this year. So you'll see us all there with the flag and we'll all be cheering the Rhinos on.
Go Ewan, that's mine.
That's right. Laurie will be playing anyway.
It'll be
Thank everybody for listening, for watching all of these World Cup podcasts. Have been really good, really enjoyable. We are a Leeds Rhinos podcast, the Lot Pod. If anyone's listening to this who's a neutral or listening to us for the first time, we do review Leeds Rhinos games every week, and lots of delusion and mailbags and questions and everything like that. Thanks a lot for coming along on this World Cup journey with us. Thanks for listening. Thanks a lot, guys, for today, for getting involved. And we'll see you next time when we'll be back with the Lot Pod. Take care.